15 seconds. Good evening, everybody from Jeddah. This is an amazing scenery, an amazing circuit. We are here for the Formula 4 Saudi Arabia Championship, and we are heading to the final circuit of the season. We will have a triple header, a triple event here in Jeddah. So in the famous and beautiful scenery of the Formula 1 race that has been just visiting here a couple of weeks ago. And here you see by night what it looks like to be in the Jeddah Corniche circuit. It is near the bay of the city of Jeddah, and it has been built around the streets of this area along the coast. So while you drive, you're actually driving really closely to the coast. By night you cannot really see it, but when we had the track walk, it was really fantastic. We started with the daylight in the middle of the track. In turn 13 we had a sunset on the sea, and finally we finished the lap in the dark. It's a very long lap, 6 kilometers. Here you see all the drivers ready for free practice. We will have a free practice followed by the qualifying. So all the drivers, they have to find their own driving lines and performances in this final practice. Yesterday we had a long night of testing. Sounds weird to say we had a night of testing, but this is what we had. Basically we had 6 hours running between 8 to 2 in the night, and there was 6 hour running of testing with all the drivers able to explore this new circuit and learn about all the corners that we have here in Jeddah. And then today, as I said, we have the 30-minute free practice, and after only 15 minutes we will start straight for qualifying. Now in 1 minute the circuit will go green. Just for you to know, we could have some cars going out straight on green, some other cars maybe waiting a little bit, as I know that some strategies between drivers are going to happen. So we will have a practice followed by the qualifying with a 15 minutes break in between, and no refueling will be allowed. So basically once the practice starts, you can go out and do as many laps as you want for the practice, but you have to basically remember the fuel that you want to have for the qualifying. In the qualifying, then we will see later, some of the drivers will go for a single new tire run, while some other drivers will actually have the two double set of tires. We have seen Federico Al Rifai with the number 10. The leader of the championship is the first car to go out of track. This is turn 4, and is going into the first sector of the circuit. As you can see, this is considered as a street track, as it's built in the streets. As you can see, the runoff area in some places is very wide. In some other places, like here, you see that the drivers has to go near the walls and stay very close to the walls. But even if, as I said, it's considered a street track, it's also it became sort of a permanent circuit. Now the circulation of the road car is not permitted anymore. So at the moment, this place, this circuit, it became fully part of the racetrack and the Corniche circuit. We also have Saud Mohamed Al Saud that is new with us this weekend. is a local driver from Saudi Arabia, and he's been racing in Formula 4 UAE in the past, and also in Porsche GT3. So he's an experienced driver. It's just the first time with us in our championship, so he will definitely need to take a bit of time to learn this car, and again, after not running this generation 2 Formula 4 yet. So he told me he's been driven the generation 1 Formula 4 car, but definitely it has been a while ago, and the generation 2 is the first time for him. This is the last corner that goes into the main straight. In this circuit, actually, we have very long straight, so these cars, they go up to sixth several times over the lap, which is the 6 kilometers long, and it's one of those places that is very tricky and quite long as well, because even if the medium, the average speed is very high, but still it's a long lap. So more or less we will see laps over the 2 minutes. We are targeting more or less 2 minute 7, maybe 2 minute 6 for the qualifying. For the practice, we will see probably 2 minute 8, 2 minute 9, just to give you more or less an idea and a rough indication. That depends also on the level of tires wear that you have on these cars. Some of the drivers will have better tires with not so much running. Some others, they will have more worn tires, but for practices we won't see anybody using the new tires. That we will definitely see for qualifying, when they will have to find the best performance possible.
It's good to join you again here for the free practice. What have you been telling the good ladies and gentlemen back home?
I mean, I was explaining how incredible is this scenery we have here on the Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, and definitely that all the drivers are enjoying a lot this circuit that is difficult, tricky, really fast. That is a street course, but now, as we see, it's basically not anymore allowed the traffic, so it's like with all the facility and the safety of a permanent circuit. So definitely everybody's very, very excited to be here.
Yeah, I think everybody's been looking forward to this race the whole season. Of course, some of our drivers from F1 Academy were here just a few weeks ago, notably Amna and Hamda Al-Kubaisi, I believe. Laura Villas, was she there as well?
No, Laura, she doesn't race for the moment F1 Academy. And definitely yesterday, with the 6-hour running of practice, everybody had a good opportunity to fill the gap to the Al-Kubaisi sisters that they race here, like you say. But now everybody had quite a lot of running on this track, and it was really good to have yesterday night's test. So now all the drivers, they have all the references for the racing lines and the braking performances, and we have been watching telemetry data videos and giving all the drivers all the information they need to have the best qualifying they can.
And did it all shake out as you thought it would, Luca, on the track walk, or were there some different lines that the drivers found in that test session that you guys went through during the debrief?
So definitely we're right here with a lot of preparation and indication, as we could analyze all the videos from the F1 Academy from a few weeks ago. So the conditions were very similar, and as we all know, the chassis and the tires and the engine is basically the same in the two categories. The difference is just a bit of the aerodynamics. So we could have really good references in terms of data analysis, videos especially, and all the gear ratios that um, we had to use corner by corner. But in a fast circuit like this with very long straights are the small details that make a difference, because every time you have a slightly this here we see a slight lockup for the home hero Faisal, as he really literally lives 5 minutes away from here. And all these fine little details, when you have long straights in a circuit like this, they make a lot of difference. For example, all this section here is twisty, but you have long flat out sections where definitely you have to maximize the exit of the corners in this circuit.
So it's all about the exit, yeah? You don't have to worry about carrying speed through the corner? I mean, with these long, straight corners, I thought it'd all be about mid-corner speed.
Yeah, so it's a very fine line. So the aim is to have the highest top speed before braking, because this is what we say is maximizing the exit. And sometimes to do that, to accomplish that, you have to go on power as early as possible. But like you said, what you said is actually correct, because in a circuit like this that we have many corners that are quite fast, like 4-gear corner, it's not just about going early on power, but it's also about carrying the speed, because if you have an high minimum speed, then you also have more momentum, and when you go back on power, the momentum helps you to reach the top speed as early as possible. So it's a trade in between carrying the speed into the corner, but still being able to apply the throttle at the right time, which is as early as possible.
So coming down the main straight now, I believe, Faisal Al-Kabani in the silver number 7, as Luca Filippi just mentioned. Hometown hero here for Faisal Al-Kabani, and we've seen him up on the top step of the podium in the second race last time out in Qatar. Do you think he's going to be able to pull that off again here in Jeddah?
I mean, Faisal definitely is a shot, as also yesterday night he was really quick, especially as he was on the new tire quite early in the night, so when he was out on new tires, it was the quickest for quite a bit, or at least one of the quickest. So I think he's really pumped up. He really wants to. You see, he's pushing hard. He's really motivated. And Faisal is one of those guys that for this weekend he really wants to pull the best result possible.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I can imagine what he's feeling here in front of his home crowd here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Coming around the corner now, Luca, that looks like 13 to me. Am I right there? Beautiful corner. I was down there for the track branding just a few hours ago. It's a lot steeper on the inside, a lot more camber, negative camber, I believe, coming down into that corner. What's the line through there? And is that Solomon Zanfari just ahead of the Silver Bullet?
Yeah, so we really ask the drivers to be aware of the traffic behind and to look into the mirrors, as it's a very fast circuit. So if you are in a slow lap, the delta speed in between fast guys compared to drivers that are still warming up, it's really big. So unfortunately Zanfari wasn't quite aware of Faisal, that then at the end managed to overtake him, but definitely he lost a lot of time in this lap, which was actually, really promising. But this is just practice, so it's important to just find the feeling. Regarding turn 13 is one of those corners where the banking of the corner really helps you to carry the speed. So we brake there extremely late. The braking is just before the 50 meters mark, so arriving in 6th, which is really fast, and then downshifting only 2 gears, the guys, they take that corner in 4th, and because of the banking they carry a lot of speed, and still the power is much earlier than you will normally think, because then again the banking of the corner really helps you to keep the rotation going.
Is that, which corner is that you're talking about? 13?
13.
Ah, right, brilliant, okay. So do you think it's an overtaking corner, or is it not quite enough of a braking point? Or?
You know, we discussed about it, and for sure it's not gonna be easy, as you brake hard initially, but still after that you will release the braking in order to carry quite a bit of speed. As I said, is a 4-gear corner. Potentially you could try to hang on the outside if the guy try and defend, but to do that you really have to carry a lot of speed. It's not gonna be an easy place to overtake. Definitely turn 1, it will be one of the places, and last
Turn
corner
one.
as well.
Turn 1 at the moment, Federico Alvarez in the white number 10 car, driving of course for the UAE. Federico is a serious championship contender here, so this is an important session for him to get his mind right going into qualifying. How did you used to handle free practice back in the day, Luca? Did you have a strategy, or did you just do 1 or 2 laps to warm yourself up? Or
I always believe that starting on the right foot the race weekend is crucial. Also mentally, you really want to feel strong, and you want to shake off the pressure of the shoulders, and so for me it was always one of the keys to try and be as fast as possible in practice as well. That was giving me, you know, the confidence and the motivation for the rest of the weekend. So and the same is for these drivers. They all know the circuit, they all are in a similar condition with used tires for this session. So trying and be at the top of the timesheet with 60 minutes to go, it will be, I think, the key for all of them to start the qualifying with a right mindset.
yes, indeed, and a little bit of a different qualifying procedure here this weekend, Luca, because it's a one-day race. We're going from pre-practice right into qualifying, just a 15-minute break between the 2 sessions. Of course, with all the cars coming in at the end of the free practice session, that means realistically 10 minutes between the cars are all stopped outside of their boxes and before the light goes green at the end of the pit lane. So that'll mean the drivers just stay in the cars, have a quick word with the engineers, maybe look at the tablet to go over timing and that kind of thing, and then they're back out on track.
Yeah, so everybody's really excited about the format we have for today. Has you know, it's basically, like you say, more of a longer session where you start the first part, which is the practice, and then after a short break you go straight into qualifying. So you are already warm, both yourself, the car and everything. So I'm sure it's one of those things that it's positive for a driver, because it's a bit less stressing compared to having all the time that normally divides the practice from the qualifying.
Do you think it'll help some of the younger drivers who've been, it's feedback from some of our younger drivers that they're having a bit of trouble going straight out and hitting the pace.
Yes.
They need a few laps to warm up. So does this actually maybe help some of these young drivers who need a little bit of a warm up before they can set their best lap time, or do you think it won't have a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Also because they will be warm from many aspects. First of all, visually, as we drove yesterday, but again, once you are in the car, you have to sort of reset yourself with your visual markers on the track, your visual targets, but also your body, your muscle are warmed up, which you can do a warm-up physically with your trainer or with the championship trainer before the session, but it's not the same as you are actually driving the car, and you don't have just your body warm up, but also, you know, you basically have your body has memory for the corners, and so you get into the rhythm. But and then there is a technical aspect, which is the car itself that is warm, And so when you mount the new tire for the qualifying, then the car is already warm, with the brakes already warm, with everything, and it makes the whole procedure of the warm-up for the qualifying smoother and easier. And I would say for this aspect, it's interesting to us, and potentially a little less difficult for the rookies.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, is that something you've pointed out to the guys already, or are they already on top of that kind of thing, these future F1 drivers?
So we didn't discuss all that. It's just that they are generally happy with the format, as they know they can be more ready for the qualifying just by having the right warm-up in the practice. And basically all we see now, with now 12 minutes to go, is to prepare yourself for the important part of this beginning of the evening, which is the qualifying session.
So qualifying, let's talk about qualifying. And when you start to talk about qualifying, you got to talk about tires. This, as we mentioned, is a little bit of a different schedule this weekend. So does that change things up with the qualifying strategy, or do they still go on to 2 sets in qualifying?
So this circuit is really smooth in terms of asphalt, and also running in the night, like we did in Qatar, but it's a very smooth circuit and not so abrasive. And also the corners we have, they don't have so much long ranges, so it's the overheating of the tire is not a problem for this race. In fact, we don't see graining or particular issues on the tires. For this point of view, you can keep improving your lap times even after a slightly longer run compared to what we've seen previously. So we have most of the drivers using only 1 set for the qualifying, as they believe there is more time into themselves driving and finding the limit of the car, of the track, rather than just swapping tires and then being forced to make a second warm-up with the second set. So we will see the difference, but for my understanding, we have the 2 Alcobaisi sisters and Suleiman Zamfari that are basically going for double stint of new tires, but more or less all the rest are going for the single set with a slightly longer run, maybe just having 1 cool lap in the middle of the stint and then try again and push on the tires.
What kind of lap times are we to be expecting here? I think we should be around the 204s down in qualifying.
I think the potential of the car is to go there, but as the circuit is, there is some rubber down from yesterday, but we don't have other categories racing with us. We will be a little slower. I will believe around the 206. It's hard to say exactly, but I think we will unlock more or less the 95% of the potential just because of the circuit. It's definitely more rubber down than yesterday, but probably not in the 100% condition of the grip. For example, if you compare it to the Formula 1 weekend, that you have F1, F2, and other categories.
They're pulling up everybody else behind them, basically.
It's just that the smoother the surface it is, then the gap in between basically the stones of the asphalt is more narrow, so it takes longer for the rubber to fill those gaps and to rubber up. So the evolution is a little slower in a circuit like this. So the more cars you have, the more categories, the more new tires, the faster it will become.
So does that mean that as we keep going, because we've got 3 races here in the next 2 weeks, as we keep going with testing on the 31st, the next race on the 1st, and then the final race on the 6th, are we going to see lap times tumbling down as we build up rubber on track, or because we're not expecting much rain here in Jeddah?
Yeah, exactly. We don't expect rain, yeah, for sure. So for sure the circuit will improve, but when you have a break of, in our case, how many days? We have 3 days in between the races, then yeah, so basically you have the evolution of the circuit, then basically after 3 days the evolution doesn't go all the way back, but it's, let's say, halfway, and then potentially for the third event we could have a slightly better overall grip, I presume. This is why, for example, all the Formula One teams, they have all the data of it's called the micro roughness and macro roughness of the asphalt, and depending on those parameters they have a better understanding on the camber to use on the track, or tire pressures, or a procedure of warm-up. And this circuit on the Formula One calendar is the second lightest in terms of roughness of asphalt. The lightest is Monte Carlo, is Monaco, and this is the second, basically smoother.
So is that a feature of street circuits then? Is a standard circuit like Qatar or Kuwait Motor Town, where we were just visited within the last 2 months, are they designed specifically to be a little bit rougher so that they can rubber up faster?
It's a good question. I don't know the exact philosophy behind it, but generally speaking, also Singapore is a smoother circuit in terms of roughness compared to a regular circuit. So definitely all the asphalt that are homologated by FIA, they have certain guidelines, but potentially the asphalt that also has a usage for, let's say, road type is generally smoother compared to what we see, for example, like you say, in Qatar. Yes.
Well, talking about asphalt, talking about tires, makes me think about race 1. Who do you think's going to be on pole position, Luca Felipe?
This is very hard to predict. I have to say that yesterday Andre looked very strong in the night testing. He was motivated. Here we have Andre, and he's also now our quickest drivers in the practice. He has done only 4 laps, and he's in P1. He's the guy that did the least alongside Kutskov. So this gives him, confidence. Just went out, go fastest, and even in his lap he also improved sector 1. And talking to him, he was really, really pumped up and motivated.
Well, talking to him right now, that's his father. Flew in this morning, I believe. Good to see them in the pit lane together, having a quick word before he goes back out. Is that him out of the car now for free practice? 4 minutes left on the clock. It probably is. What has he done? 4 laps only, 3 laps on. Yeah. Okay. So he's about ready to go for qualifying then.
Exactly. This is because, like I mentioned before, you shouldn't do too many laps, as then the rest of the laps you need to use for the qualifying. And so more or less everybody did a similar amount of lap in between. Most did 7. Andre with only 4 is the guy that did the least. So he's also the guy that felt more confident yesterday, and I believe that he definitely has a shot.
He definitely does. He had a fantastic. Well, he started off fantastic in qualifying just 2 weeks ago in the sales circuit in Qatar. Unfortunate end to that session for him when he spun out with under 2 minutes left on the board, I believe, and didn't get to rejoin. and of course that meant he dropped down to 5th from pole, but he was still up on the podium in the first race, Luca.
Yeah.
And that's what's so impressive about Andre, at least for me, is that whatever you do to him, he just shrugs it off, and he somehow, some way puts himself, if not on the top spot of the podium, somewhere on the podium, and that's why he's just accumulating points like nobody's business.
Yeah, absolutely. And he knows that if he wants to win the championship and he has to close the gap to Federico Arripai, he has to put him under pressure in this qualifying, and he needs to be ahead of him for both race 1 and 3. As for this weekend, with only one reverse grid, you have to do a good qualifying in order to have 3 fast laps, where the first counts for the grid of race 1 and the third best lap for the grid of race 3. And those 2 races counting with the full points is where these drivers, they have to make the most out of the weekend. So he really started on the right foot, but to be honest, the top 6 we see on the board, but also the top 11, they are in a very tight gap. But I would say top 6, they all have honestly a real shot for the pole position. Plus the 2 Alcubasi, if they can make work their strategy of 2 runs for the 2 sets of tires, who knows, especially if there is a bigger evolution of the circuit towards the end of the session, then that could be the jolly you can have in the pocket.
Could indeed.
The joker. Yeah.
Could indeed. So, did you actually give us an answer for who's on pole position, or did you strategically negotiate your way out of that question?
If I have to say one name, it could be Andre, just because I've seen him very motivated and
very, very motivated.
Yeah. But as I said, all top 6, they have a clear opportunity.
You know, I've got a funny feeling that Oscar Wertz is going to put it up there. I don't know why I say it, but as soon as I asked you the question, his name popped into my mind. And then I thought Faisal or Omar as well, but they're not quite there yet. They really are making leaps and bounds, and I think they're going to be I'm sure they're going to be on the podium for the race 2, and I think they're going to be top 5. At least one of them is going to be in the top 5 this coming qualifying. I think Omar might just hedge out Faisal this weekend, and I imagine it's going to reverse for the next weekend. That's my bet, Luca. Where are you going?
This is also the nice thing, that this time they have 3 shots in the same circuit where they can build on themselves, on their driving and getting more confident around the circuit. So today is the first shot, but then we have 2 more coming. As I see it, Omar, so far, he loved the circuit, because talking to him, he really likes it, but he hasn't still found the right rhythm and flow around the track. He will eventually, but he didn't quite found it yet.
Yeah, but I'm not worried. I mean, that's what's special about young Omar. I think you could drop him down in the middle of the desert and he'd find water and build a house and have 20-acre farm within the year,
I could see that happening, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
On screen now, ladies and gentlemen, that's Kirill Kutskov, CIK World Champion. He's just out of the car for the end of free practice. Where is he on the board? P3 with a 209.268. 5 laps gone, so it looks like he's going to be aiming to run long in qualifying in just a few minutes' time.
Absolutely. Kirill also, he was very confident yesterday. He was third in the testing, and also for him, only having done 5 laps and being P3, it means that he has confidence around the track. He was able to find his pace in a very short time, and when you see those things, normally they are positive aspects, definitely.
Well, it can only get better and better, and it continues to get better and better here at the Aramco Formula 4 Saudi Arabia Championship. Of course, this weekend the Invest Saudi Gulf Prix. As always, Luca and I are here for the duration of the weekend, and I believe we've just come to the close of free practice. You can see Faisal Al-Gabani, the silver number 7, the silver bullet, just pulling into his pit boxes. All cars will remain outside the garages, I believe, as we have just 10 minutes until the start of qualifying. You can see Aizat Zafik there, his number 1 mechanic, taking control of the steering wheel and parking him into the box. Just behind we have Arnold on screen as well, a fellow number 1 mechanic. Both individuals taking care of Faisal this weekend, and on screen you can see as well Dave Benbro, his engineer, having a quick word down into the cockpit. You can barely hear a thing, Luca, with the helmet on, can you? But what do you imagine Dave saying to young Faisal at the moment?
So definitely is important for Faisal to find the confidence around the track, and I'm sure that Dave, the engineer, was trying to understand if there is any changes he has to make before the qualifying session.
Quick run through the classifications now, ladies and gentlemen. We have Andrei Petrovic in the red, number 49, with 2:08.835. That's the best time here in free practice. And of course, Suleiman Zanfari is just behind him, and Kirill Kutskov round out the top 3. Federico Al-Rafai in the white number 10 car is just ahead of Oscar Wirtz in the white number 11 car. These two young gentlemen, Team White, have been battling with each other the entire season, while Sagar Al-Mashraj and Amna Al-Kubaisi come just behind them in positions 6 and 7, while Hamda Al-Kubaisi, Saud Al-Saud and Faisal Al-Kabani round out the top 10. A good first showing from Saud Al-Saud here at the Jeddah circuit for his first outing in a Formula car, I believe. Omar Walid Alduran takes P11 ahead of Laura Villas in the dark blue number 55, while Jabbar Al-Thani and Abdulaziz Abu Zanada round out the rest of the grid. Quick word from race control, several laps deleted, but I'm sure all the drivers are already aware of that. So from me, Aaron Thompson, and from Luca, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we'll be back briefly with qualifying.